I just listen to God a lot, tell you the truth. God, I have a dream, God will tell me something. I wake up and go do it. When you have an idea, when something comes into your imagination, God places everything he has for you in your imagination. So when you have something in your imagination, it's actually a preview of a coming attraction that God has for you. So if you've been dreaming of your own business, it's because that's what he got for you. If you've been dreaming of a summer home, it's because that's what he got for you. He places everything he has for you in your imagination. You just can't tell it to everybody. You know why you can't tell it to everybody? Because if you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. Your imagination is real, man. So when I imagine stuff, I act on it. And then to quit worrying about how to get it done. The how-to is none of your business. God in the blessing business, man. The Bible say, ask, believe, receive. Now you got to be willing to work, but he don't require you to figure it out. The how-to is none of your business.
If you do what you can, the Lord will make a way somehow. People say, how did you get here? I did what I could and God did what I couldn't. Do the best that you can with what you have, and God will do the rest.
We all have things that come against us. It's easy to live uptight, wondering how it's going to work out. We've tried to figure it out, but we don't see anything changing. But there's a simple phrase you have to keep down in your spirit. God's got this. He already has the solution. You don't have to figure it out. In the natural, you don't see a way. That's okay. He has ways to do it we've never thought of. And instead of trying to force it to happen, you have to let go and let God. Not only will you feel the heaviness, the weight lift off of you, but God will make things happen that you couldn't make happen. Sometimes we're trying to play God. We're trying to make our boss promote us, make the contract go through. But as long as we're trying to force it, then God steps back. But when you take your hands off and say, God, I'm not going to worry about my finances. I'm not going to be frustrated because I haven't met the right person. God, I trust your timing and I trust your ways. My life is in your hands. You may have a good reason to worry about something. You've done everything you can. Doesn't look like it's going to work out. Stay in faith. God is saying, I'm in the process of turning it around. It's just a matter of time before you see things change in your favor.
You shall be tried, but you're going to survive. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. Everything is on schedule. Don't worry about your purpose. Worry about your season. Because when you get in your season, your purpose will be clear. God knows how. God knows what. God knows when. There are times you go through a season of mourning, a season of struggle. God has a time already set aside. Did you not hear that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning? Do you not know that God has a when?
It may not happen the way you thought, but God's ways are better than our ways. In the scripture, a young man named Daniel worked for King Darius. Daniel was so good at what he did, the king was going to put Daniel in charge of his whole empire. But when the other leaders heard this, they came up with a plan to get rid of Daniel. When your gifts come out in great ways, don't be surprised if people get jealous. Some people will try to find fault and hold you back. The good news is people don't determine your destiny, God does. Don't get distracted trying to prove to them who you are. God will take care of your enemies. They said, "King, you're so great. We've written a decree. No one can pray to anyone except you." They did this because they knew Daniel prayed to Jehovah. But that didn't change Daniel. Just like normal, he knelt down on his knees and prayed to the God of Abraham, the God of Jacob. They ran back and told the king. The king was upset with himself, but he couldn't go back on his word. So he had Daniel sent to the lion's den. When they arrested Daniel, he wasn't afraid, worried, panicked. Daniel's attitude was, "God's got this. If it's not my time to go, I'm not going to go." He stayed in peace. What you're facing may be bigger, more powerful, but when you refuse to worry, instead you stay in peace, thanking God that He's fighting your battles, you are showing God by your actions that you're trusting Him. One evening, the authorities threw Daniel into the lion's den. These were hungry lions. God made Daniel unappetizing to those lions. God knows how to make you unappetizing to the enemy. What should normally defeat you, for some reason, it can't harm you. It can't take your health. God controls the universe. He controls the enemies. You're not at the mercy of random events, bad breaks. Nothing can happen without His permission. In life and in death, we have to know God's got this.
You don't know what God's going to fight with, but I declare God's going to get you out of this. You don't know who God's going to use, but God's going to get you out of this. In one moment, the weeping turned to laughter. That even the unbelievers are going to say the Lord have done great things for them.
We go hiking in the mountains sometime. They tell you, if you see a bear, don't take off running. Be calm. Carry yourself with a quiet confidence. In the same way, when you face enemies in life, those enemies can sense when you're afraid of them. They'll take more ground. But when they see you standing strong, thanking God when you could be complaining, at peace when you could be panicked, you are sending a message to those enemies: you have no power over me. My God is in control, and if He be for me, who dare be against me? God doesn't deliver us from every difficulty. Most of the time, He takes us through the difficulty. I'm asking you to quit worrying about what you're facing. Quit being upset because somebody did you wrong. Can I tell you, God's got this. God is not just with you on the mountaintops. He's with you in the valleys when you're going through things. The scripture says God is concerned about what concerns you. He's concerned about me. He's bigger than my enemies. He's arranging things in my favor. That attitude of faith is what allows God to do amazing things.
We can trust God in any circumstance we encounter with the assurance found in these three words: God's got this. We can overcome. We can have victory. We can believe in deliverance. We can believe in healing. We can believe that we can overcome in any situation as long as we know God's got this. Is there anything that I ever go through that God don't know about? The answer is a resounding no. Is there any situation I ever find myself in that God's not aware of? The answer is a resounding no. Is there any sickness that God can't heal me of? The answer is a resounding no. Is there any situation that my marriage or my family or my finances can find ourselves in that God can't fix? And the answer is a resounding no. Is anything too hard for God? No. As believers, as children of God, we know it's going to be okay as long as we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus Christ. Now, if you're looking to the world right now for help, you're depressed. And there is nothing too hard for thee. And there is nothing that's too hard for thee. Is there anything too hard for me? What's the answer to that question that God's asking us? No, nothing too hard for Him. Say it again. God's got this.
We all have things that come against us. It's easy to live uptight, wondering how it's going to work out. What if the medical report isn't good? What if my finances don't get better? What if my child doesn't get accepted in that school? We tried to figure it out. We've done our best, but we don't see anything changing. If we're not careful, we'll live worried, discouraged, not expecting it to get better. But there's a simple phrase you have to keep down in your spirit. God's got this. He's on the throne. He sees what's happening. He already has the solution. You don't have to figure it out. There may not be a logical answer. In the natural, you don't see a way. That's okay. We serve a supernatural God. He has ways to do it we've never thought of. And instead of trying to force it to happen, living uptight, you have to let go and let God. When you turn it over to Him and say, God, I know you've got this. I know you're in control. Not only will you feel the heaviness, the weight lift off of you, but God will make things happen that you couldn't make happen.
You have many problems. You have many challenges. You have many questions. You have many struggles. You need to know that you have a mighty God, because when you face mighty problems, you need to know that God, who will help you face them, is up to the task. And He is up to the task right now, my friend. For God so loved the world. He has never messed up. He has never struggled. And He is not messing up now. And He is not struggling now. He will help us. He will help us. Really, what we need to do during these seasons is focus less on the muscle of mankind and more on the muscle of God. Reach up, and you'll see that our God has got this.
In Psalm chapter 46 and verse number 1, the psalmist David wrote, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. I've told you this before, but it bears repeating. The only time and place in your entire Bible that God promises to be a present help is when we're in trouble. He said, I'm going to be a very present help. I'm not going to be a casually present help. I'm not going to be a spotty present help. I'm not going to be here and there, here a little, there a little present help. He said, I'm going to be a very present help in the time of trouble.
God is not just with you on the mountaintops. He's with you in the valleys when you're going through things. He knows what you're up against. The scripture says God is concerned about what concerns you. A sparrow doesn't fall to the ground without God knowing about it. How much more is God concerned about what's happening in your life? Trust Him. Live from a place of peace. This is a decision we have to make on a daily basis. Because every day there's something to worry about. There's some reason to get upset. All through the day, keep this phrase close to your heart. God's got this. He's concerned about me. He's working in my life. He's bigger than my enemies. He's lining up the right people. He's arranging things in my favor. That attitude of faith is what allows God to do amazing things.
Do you know why and how the shepherd boy David was able to prevail over the warrior giant Goliath? Very simple. David didn't compare himself to the giant. He compared the giant to God. We need to quit comparing ourselves to our troubles. Quit comparing ourselves to our pain and our pressure and the things we think we can't do anything about. They're giants in our lives. And instead of trying to figure out what can I do about it? Do I have enough money? Do I have enough clout? Do I have enough friends? Is there any way I can solve this? And when you look at it through that eye, you're comparing David to Goliath. But David was smart enough to say, you come to me with sword and spear, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts. And the Bible said David ran right toward him and let the rock go and the giant come down. He compared the giant to his God.
What you're facing may be bigger, stronger, more powerful. But when you refuse to worry, when you refuse to live stressed out, instead you stay in peace, thanking God that He's fighting your battles, knowing that He's in control, you are showing God by your actions that you're trusting Him.
We worry too much. We worry about all sorts of things, don't we? We worry about things we can't even change. We worry until we're a nervous wreck. We worry ourselves into high blood pressure. We worry ourselves into a stroke or a heart attack. We worry ourselves into ulcers. We worry until we become absolutely miserable people. The kind of people nobody wants to be around. We worry when it would be easier to trust God.
Is something weighing you down today? Are you worried about a situation? Frustrated by what didn't work out? Or maybe down on yourself because you're not where you thought you would be? God is saying to you, I've got this. It's not a surprise to me. I have new beginnings. I have healing. I have breakthroughs. I'm asking you to change your perspective. Switch over into faith. That situation at work that you're worried about, God's got it. I'm asking you to quit worrying about what you're facing. Quit losing sleep over that child that's not doing right. Quit being upset because somebody did you wrong. Your dream hasn't come to pass yet. Can I tell you, God's got this.
I like what Corrie ten Boom, the famous Jewish Holocaust survivor, said. She said, worry does not empty tomorrow of its troubles. It empties today of its strength. Your worry don't change tomorrow. Your worry doesn't change next week. Your worry isn't going to change your situation. Your worry isn't going to help you make more money on the job. It's not going to fix your car. It's not going to fix the house. It's not going to keep it from raining tomorrow. All the time you're worrying about whether or not it'll rain tomorrow, you're missing today's sun. Life is too short for you to live your life every day worrying about something that might happen. Worrying about what somebody has said or what somebody has done. Life is too short to spend it worrying. Life is too short for you to allow yourself to constantly be all worked up about something. Life is too short to go around miserable. Life is too short for you to make everybody around you miserable. Life is too short to harbor grudges. Life is too short to hate. Quit worrying about stuff that hadn't happened yet. It's a proven fact that 99% of the things we worry about never happen. Quit worrying about what can go wrong and get excited about what can go right. It doesn't take any more effort to believe something bad's going to happen than it does to believe something good is going to happen. No more effort. And by the way, they're really both faith. You can either have faith that something good's going to happen, or you can have faith something bad's going to happen. Either one is you got faith. I choose to have faith God's going to do something good. I said, I choose to have faith God's going to do something good. Quit worrying about the future As children of God, we don't know what the future holds, but we know who holds the future. Quit worrying about the future. Put it in the hands of God. That's where it belongs anyway.
Sometimes we're trying to play God. We're trying to make our boss promote us, make ourselves get well, and make the contract go through. But when you take your hands off and say, God, I know you've got this. I'm not going to worry about my finances. I'm not going to live uptight because of the medical report. I'm not going to be frustrated because I haven't met the right person. God, I trust your timing and I trust your ways. My life is in your hands. God never promised that we wouldn't have difficulties, but He did promise He would give us strength for every battle. He would take what was meant for harm and use to our advantage. You may have a good reason to worry about something. In your health, your finances, a dream. You've done everything you can. Doesn't look like it's going to work out. Stay in faith. God is saying, I've got this. I'm working behind the scenes. I'm in the process of turning it around. It's just a matter of time before you see things change in your favor. Now, live out of a place of peace, a place of trust. It may not happen the way you thought, but God's ways are better than our ways. God knows what's best for you. He's got this.
And if you're in the middle of a storm right now, instead of going home tonight and worry yourself sleepless, go to work tomorrow feeling bad because you worried all night and didn't sleep. You know what you realize in the morning after you've worried all night? Is that the problem's still there. Worrying didn't fix it. So I'm worried about my child. I'm worried about our money. I'm worried about jobs. I'm worried about a car. I'm worried about a place to live. I'm worried about my spouse. I'm worried. You can worry, and you're not going to change no kids, no spouse, no family, no bank balance, because worry isn't how you fix the stuff. The way you get a miracle is lay the worry aside and have faith in God. Don't worry. God's got it all in control.
I just listen to God like tell you. God, I have a dream. Tell me something, I wake up and go do it. When you have an idea, when something come into your imagines, God, please, everything He has for you. In your imagination. So, when you have something in your imagination, it's actually a preview of a coming attention that God has for you. So if you have been dreaming for your own or business, it cause that's what He got for you. If you have been dreaming of a summer home, it cause that what He got for you. He please everything He has for you in immigration. You just can't tell it to everybody. You know why you can't tell it to everybody? Because if you wanna kill a big dream, tell it to simple medicine. You imagine is real man. So when I imagine a step, I act on it. And then to quite worrying about how to get it done. The how to is none of your business. God in the blessing businessman that say asked believe. Receive now, you gotta be willing to work. But he don't require you to figure it out.